Hello everyone, this is Petko from GraphOps, and today we'll be looking at a demo of the Subgraph upgrade presync feature of Subgraph Radio. And this demo is only going to target Subgraph developers. We have two previous videos. One of them is a general Subgraph Radio demo / workshop, and the second one is covering the Subgraph upgrade presync feature from the point of view both of a Subgraph developer and that of an indexer. But this one will go through the flow that a Subgraph developer will go through in order to send messages onto the Graphcast Network using the Graphcast-cli in order to signal on when they plan to release a new version of their subgraph, so that indexers running Subgraph Radio who are already allocated to that subgraph or are just syncing it can start syncing the new deployment ahead of the new deployment being published. So first we're going to talk a bit about what the Subgraph upgrade presync feature is, and then how you can utilize Graphcast-cli to send an upgrade intent message as a Subgraph developer onto the network. So this is what the feature looks like at a high level. So a Subgraph developer uses the Graphcast-cli to broadcast an upgrade intent message onto the Graphcast network. Then indexers who are interested in that subgraph will receive that message, and if they've set up this feature on their end, they will automatically start syncing the new subgraph deployment, which means that the developer can know when the deployment is synced, and they can publish the subgraph then. So then there'll be no downtime and there'll be no issues with transitioning from one version to the next. Of course, the network is going to validate that the sender of the message is actually the Subgraph developer who is the owner of the subgraph. So you should only sign and send messages in the Graphcast-cli with the Subgraph owner account. Now, let's get into how it actually looks like. So first, let's introduce the problem. I have a Goerli subgraph right here, and I've published version 1, but then I have a new deployment now, 003, that I want to publish. But before I publish it, I want to make sure that indexers already have it synced, so that the traffic will seamlessly go from the old deployment to the new one. So if you go to our docs and then go to Graphcast, Subgraph Radio, Subgraph Upgrade Pre-Syncing, and scroll down to the As a Subgraph Developer section, it will tell you that you need to use the CLI and just run this command. The easiest way to use the Graphcast-cli is using it as a Docker image, because you can just pull it from our GitHub container registry and run it without ever installing anything locally. You just need to have Docker installed for this to work. Of course, over here in the usage section of the Graphcast-cli, you can learn more about different ways of using the CLI, different arguments you can pass if you're interested. But for now, we're just going to keep things simple. You see that we need to provide some environment variables. So first one is the graph account, which is the account that is the owner of the subgraph. Then the private key to that account to actually authenticate that you are the owner of the subgraph. Then is the command, which in our case is upgrade presync, because we want to send a upgrade intent message onto the network. Then the subgraph's ID and the new hash, and you can get both of those on the studio. So over here, if you scroll down, this is the deployment ID of the current deployment that you want to publish and you want indexers to sync. So this is the deployment ID, and then the subgraph ID, you could directly get it from here. Here on this query URL, if you copy that over, just paste it somewhere, the last bit is going to be the subgraph ID. So now you should have all of the fields that you need to send an upgrade intent message. So now you can go ahead and copy this command and add your own values. I'm going to do that right now. Okay, so this is what my command would look like. I've added my graph account, I've added the new deployment hash and the subgraph ID, also my private key, it's a fake one. And yeah, if I edit the private key and send this command, I will show you what the logs look like. And this is what the logs should look like. You really don't need to care about any of these. If the last log is sent message and then with a message ID, that means that the message has successfully been sent out to the network. And now hopefully indexers who are interested in your subgraph will receive that message and will start syncing the new deployment. Thankfully, there's also a way to check if that's the case using Graphcast-cli. So if we go back to the docs and scroll a bit down, there is a check indexing status section. So you can send literally the same command, just switching upgrade presync as a subcommand with indexing-status. So let me show you what that looks like. Here we go. I'm going to send the same command. I've just switched the subcommand to be indexing-status. So I'm going to run this. And there we go. We got the result really fast. This is a small subgraph in my case, so it's actually already synced. You see here indexing statuses summary. And you can see things like number of currently allocated indexers, in our case it's just one, number of indexing indexers, number of synced indexers, the latest sync block, which is the latest block, and average process. In our case it's 100% because it is synced. And that's how you know if at least one indexer has synced your new deployment. And now that we know that, we can go back to the studio and we can publish our new version. And there we go, the subgraph is now published. And that concludes our demo. Thank you so much for sticking around. If you want to learn more about Graphcast and Subgraph Radio, and more specifically the Subgraph upgrade presync feature, you can visit our docs. You can also check the Subgraph Radio repository. And we will appreciate it a lot if you go to the request for feedback issue that we have on Subgraph Radio to share anything from general feedback to requests for features to issues that you might be having. We also want to encourage you to open issues on the Subgraph Radio repository. Message us either in the Graphcast channel on the Graph Discord server or on X, formerly Twitter. You can find our account over here. And thanks again, and I'll see you in the next one.